I think we're in business. All right, if you don't mind, in the chat, let us know where you're from, if you're comfortable sharing. I will too. Or where you are right now, I should say. Hoping everyone can hear me okay. Looks like we have about 50 people right now. All right, here we go. I see them all. Washington State, Tacoma, Denver. Whoop, whoop. I was teacher librarian in Denver or Colorado for 20 years. Awesome. All right, here we go. All right, if you guys want to keep doing it, I'm going to get going. Yes, I started the recording. Thanks for Future of AI for sponsoring this. And let's get into presentation mode. First of all, welcome. I'm so thankful that you're with me right now. My name is Mike McQueen. I am the school librarian right now. I'm at Missouri School for the Blind. This is my 27th year in education. I spent the first 4 as a classroom teacher and then all the rest as a librarian. So I guess my slide is a little off there. It's 24 as a librarian and or 23 as librarian and 4 as a classroom teacher, elementary. And so I've written 2 books, literacy based, Getting Boys to Read and Reading Makeover. And right now I'm starting my 3rd, which is about AI. It's important to note, like, it's really tricky as AI advances and we're all learning. It's not always easy to know what the most current information is. So I think trying to like get a gauge on where the speaker is coming from is helpful. I by no means claim to be an expert in AI. I started learning about it about 7 years ago. I read a bunch of books, and I would say in the last 3 or 4 years, I've been completely obsessed with it. Every morning, every night, lunchtime, even during the day, just learning more and more. So yeah, so hopefully I'll share some of that experiences for you. And then I've also done speaking, and I do workshops and webinars. So that's enough of that. So the theme of this presentation is about, it relates to chapter 3 in this book that I'm writing. The book I'm writing is called Literacy Reborn, and in chapter 3, it's all about, it's kind of setting the tone about the different explosions and things that have occurred to kind of lay a foundation to help people kind of understand about the impact that it's having on literacy and education. And, you know, so this presentation today, the goal is to really just to showcase some of these recent advancements, things that have important, really huge things that have happened in the last year. And things that I think most people really aren't aware of about what's going on and how it came to be. So that's the first goal. Since we have such a short amount of time, I mean, it's really incredible I have so much to say, and like, there's just so much that I want to talk about, but we have such limited time. The bulk of what we're going to do today is really going to center on what these advancements are, and we're not going to have that much time to connect them to the implications with literacy and learning, which is the heart of what my book is going to be about. So all I hope to do today is just kind of share some of these things that some of you may have already known about, and some of you for sure will not have known about. And then it's going to be fast paced, and this is kind of the theme of this concept, is that we're being overwhelmed with AI, and I hate to do it in this presentation, but that's kind of what's going to happen. We're going to just touch on each topic, about 6 or 7 different things. And then I'm going to try to look through the chat when we're done before it closes. Hopefully I can see questions, and I'll try to peek at it once in a while. But as you think of questions, please add them into the chat, and feel free to have a conversation in there as well. What I'm also going to try to do is, if I can gather some of these questions, I'm going to like try to share them in a post on LinkedIn. So if you're interested, connect with me on LinkedIn, and it'll take me a little while to kind of sift through, depending on what questions we have and how I'm able to record them. And then I'll just do my best to kind of have a conversation that way too. So let's get started. Most people think about AI, they kind of connect to ChatGPT, which, we're not gonna really address too much ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is a large language model that kind of kicked all this off a couple years ago. Um, so LLM stands for large language model, and that's ChatGPT is a chatbot that was connected to this large language model. And the concept that language is the foundation to these models is really important. And how it impacts literacy, learning, reading, and writing, and everything that kind of revolves around that is kind of the whole goal that I have to try to uncover what that means. And it all starts with this screen right here. These are the main companies that are involved with these large models, and they're known as frontier models. And OpenAI with ChatGPT was the first, but all the competitors, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them had already been working on their versions of these models beforehand. Now, the biggest difference now is that the chat bots and the large language models part of it is just really just a small, tiny piece to the bigger picture of everything that is involved with AI. And that's kind of what we're about to discuss. We're going to go through and share some of these recent innovations that are just kind of mind-boggling. That's part of what this theme is too, is some of these new advancements that are just hard to gather how amazing they are and how kind of scary they are too. But if you're new to all this and you've never watched this video, I'm going to share this presentation somehow, but you can also just Google this. This is a great introduction to what AI is. Now, this 60-minute video, it's interviewing the people from Google, so it's right after Google announced their large language model chatbot. But if you're new or know somebody that's new, that's a great starting place. One more thing about this slide before we move on. Knowing the impact that AI is about to have with us, we think right now that it's impacting us, but we really haven't even begun to see what's going to happen with it. And it's enormous, the impact that it's going to have. And these companies, they're most of them are trillion-dollar companies, and they are investing heavily, billions and billions of dollars into the future of their companies harnessed on AI, all of them. And the connection to language and literacy really starts with compute. So compute is the ability for all these companies to purchase servers and technology. The more that they have connected when they pre-train models to learn, the more computers that they have connected, the better the results are in their models, in their AI models. Most of these companies have purchased their servers and their internal hardware from a company called NVIDIA. And NVIDIA, because they started their company off like targeting making these processors, and if you look at that picture there, that's Jensen Huang. He's the founder and CEO of NVIDIA. Those processors were initially intended for the video game industry to help graphics, to improve computers so that they would go faster. Well, they were able to use their hardware and all their infrastructure and their software that's around it to be applied to these servers for artificial intelligence and for the creation. Now, that picture that you're looking at was when he gave the introduction to the new chip. So all the stuff that we've seen so far and experienced so far is all based off of NVIDIA's older, smaller chip called Hopper, and that's the one that he's holding in his left hand. The newer chip that he introduced in March is now called Blackwell, and it's apparently double and twice as good as or capable as the other one. So as we watch these examples I'm about to show you, keep that in mind, like to think like everything we've done so far hinges on these older hardware. And we're talking about $30,000 for one system, and these companies are buying Facebook Meta just bought they have 600,000 of these machines, these print farms. So the impact that it's having is just enormous. Now, The next step in this process first is the hardware. And what these companies are doing now is they're making platforms available for people to create software. And they're doing it in a way that doesn't require, some of it requires programming and technology skills, but they're really more progressing toward the ability to not have to have those developer skills. So people can create software and tools and improve things, even if they're not like super advanced. That's kind of the goal where they're going from. So the result is this explosion of software. We're seeing it. No, I listed two examples there, Magic School and CuriPod. I mean, those are popular across schools and become very popular. And there's a lot more, but what's also happening now is because of these platforms making it easy to tap into these AI systems, then what that means is that we're seeing it now in current software. It doesn't take much to update current software to be able to add in all these AI tools. And this is going to just keep continuing. And that's kind of the foundation to where these innovative, mind-boggling things have spawned from. Okay, this is the first one I want to show. Now, this is Google. Now, in February, Google has been planning and preparing to do this for a long time, for many years. Everyone in the world kind of woke up with what was going on when ChatGPT was announced by OpenAI, but Google was already ready to do it. So just this last February, they introduced their multimodal model. So they built this model from the ground up, knowing that it was going to be multimodal, which basically means their model can receive and process information, not just in a text like in a chatbot, but it can take in video and audio too. And this little clip that I'm going to share with you right now is going to introduce what multimodal prompting is. And it helps to kind of let you know how it's working before I just show this video, because it kind of goes kind of fast. But basically what you can do with this model is you can feed it a 1-hour video and or something that's equivalent to 700,000 words. And then you can interact with it and ask it questions, and it can watch the video and then interact and let you know. And then they're going to show two examples. They're going to ask, in this video, where in the video was this moment when, and then they're going to want the model to find the answer to that within the video. And then the second thing that they do is an image. So they take a sketch, stick figure drawing, and they ask it, look at this image and tell us where it is in the video and exactly what's happening. And that's all that the model knows. Since it's multimodal, it has vision, it can see the image and it can process, and it understands what the question is and what it's looking for. So let's watch that. Hopefully it works.
In Google AI Studio, we uploaded the video and asked, find the moment when a piece of paper is removed from the person's pocket and tell me some key information on it with the time code. This screen capture is sped up, and this timer shows exactly how long it took to process each prompt. And keep in mind that processing times will vary. The model gave us this response, explaining that the piece of paper is a pawn ticket from Goldman & Company pawnbrokers with the date and cost, and it gave us this time code 1201. When we pulled up that time code, we found it was correct. The model had found the exact moment the piece of paper is removed from the person's pocket, and it extracted text accurately. Next, we gave it this drawing of a scene we were thinking of and asked, what is the time code when this happens? This is an example of a multimodal prompt, where we combine text and image in our input. The model returned this time code, 1534. We pulled that up and found that it was the correct scene. Like all generative models, responses vary and won't always be perfect. But notice how we did.
Okay, that's enough. So you get the point on that one. And that happened back in February. This video comes at the same exact time that the other announcement was about from NVIDIA when they announced their big chip. What you're about to see now is what NVIDIA is doing. They created their own AI system that's specifically made with a different chip, but it's also specifically made to train robots. This to me is like crazy. And we're jumping in right at the point where he kind of introduces how these different ways that that robot training can occur. So the idea here is that a company that creates robots could use their services to quickly train their robot to implement AI.
Type of workflow, really incredible.
This is NVIDIA Project Groot. A general-purpose foundation model for humanoid robot learning. The Groot model takes multimodal instructions and past interactions as input and produces the next action for the robot to execute. We developed Isaac Lab, a robot learning application to train Groot on Omniverse Isaac Sim. And we scale out with Osmo, a new compute orchestration service that coordinates workflows across DGX systems for training and OVX systems for simulation. The Groot model will enable a robot to learn from a handful of human demonstrations, so it can help with everyday tasks and emulate human movement just by observing us. All this incredible intelligence is powered by the new Jetson Thor robotics.
Okay, that's enough. You get the point that these systems that they're making now for robots is going to get transferred. So the ability for it to use the cameras that it sees and the microphones as hearing, and then to be able to transfer it into movement. It incredibly concerned people about how's this going to change the future of work, and many other concerns can rise up out of this too. Again, part of my goal is to help you to stay positive. So don't let any, it's easy to say that, we shouldn't be stressed out or too worried about this. But the reality is our students and our patrons and our society are going to need a little advanced warning for some of these technologies that are already available right now. Now, I forgot to say one more thing. A lot of times these companies will figure this out, and then they will show it to everyone, but they won't quite release it yet. This is becoming a big thing. They will show what their model's capable to do, but they will roll it out with limited availability. And there's different techniques that they're using with that. So some of this stuff is available now, and some of it, we just know that it's coming out. So it has spawned this whole new thing about text to different modalities that you can use to create different modalities. So text to song is the one I'm going to show you right now, but there's text to video, which I'm going to show you next. And then there's a whole slew of other things that relate to, besides using text. So you could use image to song or image to video. And then there's just more and more with it. So this one is from an app called Suno. Now, I typed in this prompt that you see on the left side in, I don't know, 30 seconds or 45 seconds. And then when I hit create, it only took 2 minutes or less to do two things. It wrote the lyrics to the song, and then it created the song. So it actually, and that's what I'm going to play right now. And I did this in March, just this past March. Hopefully it works.
I step inside the library, Missouri school for the blind, with braille's the secret language and knowledge intertwines. I'm flipping through pages, feel the words beneath my fingertips, a symphony of letters, the world at my fingertips. Audio books blasting through the headphones they play, imagining the world through the stories they convey. From fantasy to non-fiction, this library's got it all, immersed in every chapter, breaking down every wall.
Okay, that's enough. You get the point that it's pretty incredible. Now, this song, of course, this is about my students at my school, and I can't help but think so much of the stuff that we're doing, it's going to empower people in ways that we don't even know yet. And there's a lot of things, of course, that are concerning about all this, but there's going to be a lot of really amazing things as well. All right, let's go on to the next example. So here's conversational AI. Now, this to me is probably one of the biggest shocking things that I've seen so far. And it was released, so OpenAI on May 13th, they announced this, and then the very next day, Google shared theirs. So I'm going to start off by just sharing Google's, and I think I have it already loaded here somewhere. let's see, Project Astra. Let's just see if it loads up. Yeah, okay, so basically let me jump back here. So what we're talking about now is real-time conversational AI. So basically the ability to use your phone and have a live conversation with an AI chatbot. Many people are referencing this to the movie Her that was out a while ago, where the guy falls in love with an AI chatbot or whatever. And it kind of reminds me of that movie a lot too, because it very much so. So it can talk and interact with you real time. You can interrupt it, and it can use the camera and the microphone, just like I mentioned before. Of course, now I forgot where it is. Okay, here it is.
Do some tests.
Sorry, let me back up a step. There we go.
Okay, let's do some tests. Tell me when you see something that makes sound.
I see a speaker, which makes sound.
What is that part of the speaker called?
That is the tweeter. It produces high-frequency sounds.
Give me a creative alliteration about these.
Creative crayons color cheerfully. They certainly craft colorful creations.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions. It seems to use AESCBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector, IV.
Okay, that's enough. To me, it's incredible, like on many levels, and what it just showed. And the OpenAI tool does basically the same thing. You can talk to it and ask it questions, and it can interact. And the piece that I didn't even talk about is about how AI can code, and that's going to be another like enormous impact on our society as more and more systems learn how to code and get better at it. Now, look at the dates on this slide here. These have OpenAI introduced Sora in February, and so basically the ability to type in a prompt and then have it create a video for you. And I'm going to show you runways. They're all kind of the same concept, but their abilities are just unbelievable. Every frame, everything you're seeing is all completely AI generated, just from text prompts. It is, of course, causing incredible threats to the filmmaking industry. We'll know about a lot of lawsuits, writers, groups, and all that. But many experts think it won't be long until we can all create our own full feature-length movies just by interacting with the text. We're almost done here. And the last couple slides I have is this one right here. This is, so exponential growth is a common term that is coming up in AI. And Ray Kurzweil, he's like one of the most well-known futurists. He's been involved with AI since the 60s and is really well respected. And that book, The Singularity, is that book is the sequel to his first one that was put out 20 years ago. His first book was called The Singularity. And this one so that book that was out 20 years ago made all these predictions. And then this book that just came out is the most recent version. It just came out in June. And the gentleman in the picture on the left is Lex Friedman. He's a very famous podcaster, and I would encourage you to watch the video if you want to. It's a little in depth, but the point is that Ray Kurzweil, he talks about exponential growth and how the rate at all this is just going to keep getting faster and quicker. And that's kind of just prompts me to this theme that our society is going to need help. They're going to need, our kids are going to need help making sense of all this. We didn't even talk about artificial general intelligence, which is a whole thing that all these companies are trying to race toward. And basically that's when AI systems together are more capable than, or just as capable as humans are in a variety of different settings. So all these companies are racing toward that. So as that gets closer to happening, and many experts think it's going to happen within the next 4 or 5 years, but to think about the impact it's going to have on our kids and all of our patrons, it's just, they're going to need help, and this is an opportunity for us to be able to step up and try to help, to be heroes. And for those of you that are watching that are librarians, we've been through this before when the internet came. I mean, this is at another level, like tons more in depth, but when the internet first came, that really shook up a lot of people about how things are going to change, and AI is only going to do it times 10. So I just would encourage you to be, the answer to the question is to become literate. It is the strategy that's best of all is to become literate. Try to learn as much as you can. I put on the screen here some resources. These the bottom 3, AI for K-12, AI for education, and AI.edu are enormous groups that are instilling AI literacy across the country. The video on the right those are 2 YouTubers that I follow. Matt Wolf is probably the most popular YouTuber. I have my book coming out that maybe you could check out whenever that time comes. And Library 2.0, I love them so much. The session we had in spring, there were 12,000 librarians at that one, and I'm sure they're going to keep having more of these sessions. So join again in the future. And then all the other big publishers now are providing more and more information too. So last but not least, connect with me, reach out on LinkedIn and ask me for the link to this presentation. I'd be happy to share it with you. And again, if you have any more questions, hopefully I can keep this chat up for a little while and try to find a way to answer some of them later on. I know you guys have to go. I'm sorry I couldn't interact more with you, and I hope I didn't stress you out so much, but you can do this and just keep on learning. That's kind of what we stand for in education. So thank you, and talk to you later. I'm going to stick around. I'm not going to go to the next session. So if you got to go, just end this one and join the other one. And if you want to stick around, I'll start going through some of the questions until it turns off. I'm afraid if I stop recording, the chat will go away. I don't know how to do this.